Highguard is out, and I can confidently say, wow. So I initially went in with a totally open blank slate, thinking, oh, let's see how this goes. Let's put all aside the negative feedback for the game and kind of just look at it and judge it on its own merits. And I felt like falling asleep, like through several parts of this game. Now, uh, I figured let's start out with just kind of I don't want to focus on a lot of other people's feedback on it. I just want to focus on mine and like kind of point out some of the things that I saw where I was like, this is a huge missed opportunity, and I'm not sure why they chose some of the design choices they chose. We went in not really knowing anything about the game until the day of like release, and suddenly it was like, oh, it's a 3v3 siege. So I don't know what they want to call it. It's whatever they want to call it. It's not particularly good. I do have a guest here. She wants pets very badly, so she will be my co-host for this. Now, start out with tutorial of the game. It's too long. It's way too long. So I saw it. I watched Asmongold go through it. And I figured, okay, like I know what I'm doing. I tried to rush through it, and I found two bugs in it. One where I couldn't actually pick up a weapon, where I had to alt tab out and like refocus on another app and then come back in for it to actually pick up that I was trying to actually get the item. And then another bug later on where I was just trying to purchase this rocket launcher, and I had purchased it apparently too fast. And because of that, it was like, oh no, you haven't purchased the rocket launcher yet. To start out with, if you're going to have a mandatory tutorial for any kind of game, it is vitally important that that tutorial works 100% of the time. I saw other people that were having issues where they were saying that even though it was a single player tutorial, they couldn't get into it because of like server issues. And that's another thing. This is a single player tutorial that needs to be totally separated from all of your network services. Like at most, you need to log in. You need to get like the name of the character and everything, and let them go through on their own. And then even if you have some kind of like maybe the servers are down, for example, where like your login server is like able to give people their stuff, but like maybe your matchmaking server is broken and some other kind of issues, that should not be something that is an issue for doing any kind of single player content. You should always have access to your tutorial. You should always have access to whatever kind of training room setups that you have, so that if a player can log into the game, even if like the core game of playing with other people is broken, that should not be a gate for anything that you got going on. So immediately right out of the bat, bad. But hey, I mean, I'd like to make an excuse for it, but like there's really not. That's bad. That shows like a lack of like quality assurance that really should have been done before releasing the game. So other people had server issues getting in, matchmaking servers. That's sadly, it's pretty expected. Most of these places are going to have their infrastructure rolled out into the cloud with either AWS or Microsoft's Azure. And while everything is built to scale, usually I find most places don't do proper load testing when they're actually trying to get enough servers ready. So they'll say, oh, well, we'll scale up and we'll like potentially have like 200 servers running that can run however many games or like whatever it may be. And then just enough people come online where they need 210. And then that's enough to just cascade and cause problems for everybody. Not good, expected, but the game itself, actually getting into it, it tries to be a lot of things. And it doesn't actually succeed at doing any one thing particularly good. I saw some people that were really happy with the gunplay, and they were really happy with the fact that like it could have a potentially very high skill ceiling, which is a huge detriment to like your average user. The whole idea of you reinforcing your base doesn't seem like it has any meaning. Like I don't understand why that's part of the game when, like, for example, Rainbow Six Siege, you fortify like a place, you shut doors, like you fortify walls. It's very much a part of the core gameplay. Feels great. As for this, like you fortify your base and like for what? Everyone only has so many like things that they can fortify, And then it seems like there's so many different ways that you can get into a building. Like, why are you fortifying it at all? It'd be one thing if you were able to. Um, I don't even know. I don't think I can come up with a good way to salvage that whole mechanic. I see where they might have tried to be like, okay, this could be fun, but it's a half baked idea, and they don't do it particularly well. The maps are so ridiculously large. There's no reason for things to be that big. Initially, when I saw the game and they were like, "Oh, you run around on a horse and like you can shoot people," my immediate thought was maybe it was part of a mode where you had like teams because you had people from like the Apex team that was working on this, right? But no, it's only 3v3. That's the whole game. That the only mode you have is like you running around into the wilderness by yourself to collect items, and then like that's not particularly satisfying. You get into combat. Combat's also not very satisfying. I when I played Splitgate when it was like coming out with Splitgate 2, I still was like, okay, I can quickly get into the actual gameplay loop, the actual fighting part very quickly. So I had like a number of days where I was like, I'll just go play a match of Splitgate and like see how this goes. I got through 2 matches in Highguard. I can't do anymore. I find this to be one of the most boring games that I've played in recent history. And it's let me look at my video here. So you want your like the amount of time that you spend in the actual core fun part of your gameplay to be like as much as possible. And then you'll have your down times where it's like, oh, maybe you're in this case like fortifying your base. If you think of like Counter-Strike, the downtime is like in between rounds or when you're dead. Maybe downtimes will be like Apex, like you're dead waiting for a revive. Whatever it may be, where you have a part of your game where you're not doing something, but you want to have everyone up as high as possible at all times. Like that's your goal. You want people to be very engaged in the actual gameplay. So with something like, let's say Overwatch, even if you're losing an Overwatch, because like for like push the cart kind of style games, the closer the cart gets to you for your objective as the defender, the faster it is for you to get back into the gameplay. So even though you're losing, you're getting rewarded because your downtime is only limited to your respawn, and then you can get back into the actual thick of it really, really quickly. So you're right back into like the core gameplay loop. And in this, like my second game around, we were playing against people that like weren't terrible like I was. So we immediately got just totally curb stomped. And like I think I got like 2 kills. I think I shot someone with a rocket launcher. Maybe I shot 2 people with a rocket launcher. I don't recall. But even though I was getting kills, it wasn't satisfying. There was no like, oh man, this is really great. And the abilities that you get, like I never got to ult on any of the games that I played. And I totally forgot I even had skills because it's just not like I want with Overwatch, at least I think games like that, you have like very well-defined characters. But with Highguard, I don't even know what character I'm playing because it's just like, okay, they're all pretty much the same except for an ability. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm still having to go through and do the exact same like core gameplay no matter who I'm playing. Like I got to run out on my horse. I got to like mine some minerals. I got to pick up items, and then I got to like collect a sword that summons like these cat creatures that'll come and destroy the shields. And it's just so boring. Like I spent most of my time here like not engaged with anything, and then finally when we get into combat, the time to kill can be pretty fast, which is fine if that's like what you're going for with your game. But like if someone's like, I'm not a great shot, never have been. I've always been like well, not always. I in my younger years when I was playing like Battlefield 2 or Bad Company 2, or I think those were the big ones that I really played the most of. Like was more decent in those, where I would get my M1 Garand or whatever it may be. M1 Garand and 1911 was my like big thing in Bad Company 2. But with other games, like even if I was getting totally dominated by something, like things like Battlefield or COD, they have built like things that you can get to like, help you out. Like maybe if you get a couple of kills, you can like call in like, some kind of ability in COD. Battlefield, some of my like favorite moments was like, okay, I'm getting sniped by some dude. And then you get into a helicopter and you fire a TV guided missile and just totally annihilate them from a distance. It feels great. Amazing. Those equalizers are there. And with this, it seems like the equalizer is going to be just skill. And that skill, that's fine if you have an engaging enough game where people want to play. And it's even better if you get people to go into ranked modes, because ranked is going to segment everyone based on their skill. So me as a bad player, I'm going to be playing with other bad players. So it's great for me. But even with a ranked mode like that, you still have to have a game where people want to play the game enough to get through their ranked matches and then get into ranked play. And ranked play isn't even on right now. For whatever reason, this game is launched with a single map mode. And the map mode is just unimpressive. The whole game is just a huge lost opportunity. And I was thinking, what if this were to release earlier? Let's say this released before Apex Legends. Would this stand a chance? I don't think it would. If this launched before Overwatch, which was kind of like when the whole hero shooter genre really took off, would this be a successful game? I don't think it would. Like, so no matter where you kind of stick this in the timeline of more recent games, and heck, Overwatch isn't even that recent, it still is a lackluster game. The fact that this much time and energy was put into this game, and even putting aside the whole Jeff Keighley bit, which is hilarious, even if they wanted, like, no matter what, if you wanted this to be a successful game, it sounds like they went to streamers. And the streamers that are very skilled at these kinds of games were like, man, I really like this. And I've seen some people tweeting where they're just like, this is super satisfying. You guys don't understand. This is really great. This is really great. But when you have a free-to-play game, especially, you need to be able to get a large pool of people in. You can't just handle like the most elite of the elite. The biggest example of that kind of gameplay failing was Tribes 2. Had an extremely high skill ceiling. And with that, it made it so that a player that knew what they were doing, because it was like it was like you capture the enemy's flag, you bring it back to your base, and had a skiing mechanic. So you could have someone that was like really good, like moving super fast through the map. They would do a loop where they'd capture your flag, go back to their base, get a point, and then they just keep doing it. So a round could be over within just a few minutes. So the losers would be super pissed. The people that won were like, I didn't get a chance to play because I was doing combat, and apparently one dude soloed the whole match for us. It's just that high skill ceiling, it's a real turnoff to an audience at large. And in the case of this, like, even though we've got the people that like really like it, that are very skilled in the game, I haven't seen anyone that's coming at it from a more casual perspective saying anything positive about it. I don't have anything positive to say about it. There's not a single part of me that's like, man, I want to go back and play another round of Highguard. And the more I think on like, okay, could this be salvage? What happens if we were to just add it like maybe 5, 6v6? Would that make it better? Probably not. Would it be better if we did, I don't know, multiple teams? What if we remove the entire siege component and just have it be like a BR? Well, no one wants to play any more BRs. We've got plenty of BRs out already. This is just going to be a lackluster BR. What about if we were to change it into a something like Splitgate, where it's like small match, team on team? Well, it's still just a lackluster variant of that. Like there's no part of it where it's like, okay, if we remove X, Y, or Z component, do we have a successful game? And no matter how I look at it, there's just no successful game here. And I don't know how to salvage it at this point. I know some people are like, oh, well, you're not, like, it's so terrible that it's getting review bombed and all this stuff. But it got a lot of eyes on it. A lot of people went in to play, and it's on the game itself to be a good game, to get people to want to actually go and continue to play that game. Because if it were a good game and someone jumped in and they're like, oh, well, they left a bad review after 10 minutes, The game's not good in the first 10 minutes. You're a free to play game. You have to be good in the first 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The first day has to be a great experience to bring them back to the second day. Because for these free to play games, you're trying to like get someone to add this as part of their daily rotation. You want someone logging in every day, ideally, because once they log in every day and they make that part of their schedule, they're more inclined to say, hey, I played this a lot. Maybe I should get a microtransaction because this is worth my time. Because you want to make this game worth their time to where they're actually spending money. So when people are saying like, well, it's unfair that they only played 5 to 10 minutes, the first 5 to 10 minutes of this game sucks. The tutorial's bad. Your first round of the game is bad. And even if you like your first round, are you going to like your fourth, your fifth, 10th? The quality of your actual enjoyment as you play this game more, just it drops so fast. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if they can. I saw like some thing saying that some dev was like, well, we don't need high player counts to do this. And devs need to stop talking about stuff like that. It is, as a developer, it is not your job to be defensive. If people are disliking your game, you need to hunker down and try and fix your game. And in a lot of cases, your game is just going to fail, and then you're going to need to find a new job. You do not want to be someone that is going off to social media and complaining or trying to defend yourself, because there's no positive end result for that for you. There's no positive end result for for your company. There's just nothing positive that's going to come from that. The like best case scenario is no one notices you saying anything. The worst case scenario is you get pulled up in an Asmongold video, and then he's going to react to you, and then like 30 VTubers are going to react to you, and like everyone's going to see you, and you're going to feel like, oh my God, like I can't handle this, because most average developers don't have this thing where they're like, yes, I can suddenly take like a huge amount of hatred online. Like I'm making videos that I would still feel super stressed if suddenly Asmongold were to bring me up and be like, this guy's an idiot. I'd be like, oh my God, like, you know, middle of my work day with Asmongold on the, you know, monitor over there, and I got to shut it off or like listen to it in like horror. Like it'd suck. Don't do it. Don't say these things. Don't go out there and put yourself out there like this. You need players. Actually, you don't. I could make a game that's free to play that only needs one player, as long as I have an item in that game that sells for $10 million and some Saudi oil prince buys that item. Woohoo, I did it. But that's not the kind of market we work in. We're selling small items to the masses. If you set up your in-app purchase microtransactions infrastructure in a way where you're like, okay, we're going to count on only big purchases, most games can't get away with that. Like you see some of it in like Diablo 4 where it's like, here, buy a horse for $60, and it should be roundly mocked, and the people that buy those should be roundly mocked, because like, what are you doing? It's terrible for the consumer. Heck, microtransactions, you could argue were terrible for the consumer, but we are now in a state with the industry. It's dramatically changed over just the past like 10, 20 years, where it is now like, it went from like, I hate free to play games because you're going to have to get microtransactions, to why isn't this a free to play game? I don't want to pay money to be able to play the game. And even paid games, a lot of them still have microtransactions. It's a wild time. So yeah, I'm getting off track. The whole thing, I think this game's done. Like we've already seen like a dramatic drop off in player count. I don't see a world which this gets better. I don't see a world where everyone is going to even if a new mode comes out, almost everyone's gonna have their mind made up where they're not gonna want to come back and play this. So that's all I got on this game. This has been I was hoping we'd like maybe get a little more content out of this, but I think it's just such an unimpressive game that like we're gonna have, you know, a couple of days maybe of people talking about this. Then after that, maybe a few people will still try and defend it, but I don't, especially with no ranked mode being there, I don't think this is going to work out, guys. I've heard that it's got like a post-launch plan that's really aggressive, but if the core gameplay is bad, who cares what your post-launch plan is? Like that's your core gameplay loop that needs to be solid. and this just isn't. But that's all I got for today. Thank you for your time. I hope to see you again in a future video about a hopefully more fun game than Highguard. Farewell.